Hello students, once again welcome to the video lectures of University Physics, Electricity and Magnetism. This lecture is about electromagnetic waves. That is your chapter 32. The last chapter of your Electricity and Magnetism, University Physics, Electricity and Magnetism. And this is the lecture 17 of this lecture series. Yeah, this lecture is on the last chapter 32, but this is the first lecture of chapter 32. In this lecture, we'll discuss about Maxwell's equations and electromagnetic waves. Already we have discussed about electricity and magnetism and the important laws of electricity and magnetism as well as electromagnetism. And you know that how your electric field and magnetic field related to each other. As all of you know, the charges, the charge carriers are the origin of the electricity as well as also they are the origin of magnetic field. All of you know that. Moving charge creates magnetic field with or in addition to electric field, and your whenever there is a charge, it may be a static charge, may be a moving charge, and electric field is there. Here one important thing we'll discuss electromagnetic waves and how they are related to your Maxwell's equations. In chapter I think 30, we have discussed a little bit about Maxwell's equations. Here also again we'll discuss about Maxwell's equations. But before going to that, let me just give you a brief idea about electromagnetic waves. All of you are acquainted with waves. So what is a wave? What do you mean by a wave? You are acquainted with this answer. Wave is a disturbance or energy that propagates through a medium due to the repeated periodic vibrations of the particles of the medium. So, again I repeat, the disturbance or the energy is propagated. This is your wave. How it is propagated? This is due to the repeated periodic vibration of the particles of the medium. So, this is your definition of a general mechanical wave. So, now let me tell you what is the electromagnetic wave. All of you heard that your light is the electromagnetic wave, visible light. Infrared radiation, it is also electromagnetic wave. X-ray, gamma ray, your radio waves are there. Microwaves are there. All are electromagnetic waves. Then what is that electromagnetic wave? When you say that electromagnetic, that means it consists of a electric field as well as there is a magnetic field. So how a electromagnetic wave is generated? Whenever there is a time varying electric field, this should be noted. Whenever there is a time varying electric field and there is a time varying magnetic field and both are perpendicular to each other, the energy is propagated along a direction perpendicular to both electric field and magnetic field. This propagation of energy is known as electromagnetic wave. Now the thing is, whenever there is a time varying electric field, time varying means what? The field magnitude changes with time, either increases or decreases. That means there is a transfer of energy. So that means whenever there is a time varying electric field or magnetic field, and obviously some energy is propagated. But it is observed that whenever this time varying electric field and magnetic field are perpendicular to each other, the you can see the radiation of the energy or the energy propagation is maximum at a direction perpendicular to both the electric field and magnetic field. And these disturbance, this propagation of energy is known as wave. It is also having the properties of wave. As your electric field, magnetic field, and the direction of propagation of energy, all three are perpendicular to each other, you can see your electromagnetic wave is a transverse wave. As all of you know, what is a transverse wave? If you go to the mechanical part, longitudinal wave and transverse wave. In longitudinal wave, the particle vibration is along the direction of propagation wave, and in transverse wave, the particle vibration is along the perpendicular to the direction of propagation of wave. That means when you can say here, when the particle is vibrating, there is a propagation of wave. In this case, you can see when there is oscillating magnetic field, your electric field varies, then there is a propagation of electromagnetic wave. So you can express the electromagnetic wave either in terms of electric field or in terms of magnetic field. But here, one important thing is that this electromagnetic disturbance, it can propagate in free space, or you can say vacuum. And the speed is equal to the speed of light. Next slide will discuss that. The speed of the electromagnetic wave is equal to the speed of light. Whenever electric field exists or magnetic field exists, there is electromagnetic wave. It may be a vacuum, it may be a free space. And the next important thing is that how the four important laws of electromagnetics, or you can say electrostatics and magnetostatics and magnetism, they are related to this electromagnetic wave. So Maxwell related four these four laws to that of the electromagnetic wave, and an electromagnetic wave can be explained by these four laws. So that's why Maxwell rewrite these four laws and we name them as Maxwell's equations. And in this case, we'll discuss only about the integral form of these four laws, or exactly these four laws, but this can be expressed in also differential form, and which can be used also to uh, 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 find out the wave equation of the electromagnetic wave. But this is beyond your scope, so we are not going to that. We just discuss what are the Maxwell's equations. Maxwell's electromagnetic equations. As you know, Maxwell's four electromagnetic equations, they include, first is your Gauss law for electrostatics, Gauss law for magnetostatics, Ampere's law, or better you can say modified form of Ampere's law, which includes your displacement current, and Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction. Again, let us see what are the four equations. As all of you know, what is Gauss law? The net electric flux linked through a closed circuit is equal to 1 by epsilon 0 times the net charge enclosed through the surface bounded by that circuit. And what is your Gauss law for magnetostatics? the net magnetic flux linked through a closed surface is zero. As you know that this also shows the non-existence of magnetic monopole. This shows the non-existence of magnetic monopole. And what is your Ampere's law? Modified form? The line integral of, these are the surface integral. E dot dA, this is surface integral because dA is the small surface area. This is the line integral. The line integral of magnetic field along a closed path. So is equal to the mu 0 times the conduction current plus displacement current. Yeah, let me again tell about the Gauss law. I think when I have told you the Gauss law, net flux links through a closed, not circuit, this is closed surface actually. The net flux linked through a closed surface is equal to the total charge 1 by epsilon 0 times the total charge in the volume enclosed by that surface, or simply you can say the total charge enclosed by that surface. Okay. So this is also the net magnetic flux linked through a closed surface because this is surface integral, and this is your line integral. The line integral of magnetic field along a closed path, or you can say a closed circuit, is equal to the current mu 0 times the conduction current flowing through the circuit plus the displacement current flowing through the circuit. And what is your Faraday's law? Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction is the EMF is equal to minus d phi by dt. That means whenever there is a change in magnetic flux, there is a EMF induced in it. And what is the EMF? You can write the EMF as E dot dl integration. So E dot dl integration along a closed path is equal to minus d phi by dt. Its negative sign is due according to Lenz's law. So now your Ampere's law includes the displacement current, and this is actually discovered by your Maxwell. What does it show? It shows that a time varying electric field acts as a source of magnetic field. So you know that a moving charge creates a magnetic field. So whenever there is a moving charge, there is an electric field. And as the charge is moving, at a particular point also the electric field varies. So you can say a time varying electric field acts as a source of magnetic field. Yeah. Similarly, the Faraday's law says, already I have discussed, a time varying magnetic field gives electric field. But whenever both are varying, whenever there is a time varying electric field and there is a time varying magnetic field, some energy is there, which is your propagation of energy is there, which is your electromagnetic wave. So let me summarize again. According to your Maxwell's equation, a point charge at rest produces a static electric field. So this is Gauss law, but Maxwell also Maxwell has taken all the laws into considerations and then summarized, but no magnetic field. That means you know that a static charge doesn't create magnetic field. But a point charge moving with a constant velocity produces both electric field and magnetic fields. So from Maxwell's equations, you can get that every accelerated charge radiates electromagnetic energy. Is that clear? How accelerated charge radiates electromagnetic energy? Yeah. When a charge is moving, it creates what? Both electric field and magnetic field. When a charge is moving, obviously the electric field varies. But when a charge accelerating, that means what? Its velocity changes. Velocity changes means what? The magnetic field changes. As magnetic field changes and electric field changes, so there is a propagation of electromagnetic energy. So that's why also you can say when a point charge oscillates in simple harmonic motion, it emits electromagnetic waves. So oscillating the charge up and down makes waves that propagate outward from the charge, obviously. But the charge doesn't emit waves equally in all directions. The waves are strongest at 90 degrees to the axis of motion of the charge, and while there are no waves on the axis, this point is important. That's why we are saying whenever there is a time varying electric field and time varying magnetic field, we are getting a electromagnetic wave along a direction perpendicular to both electric field and magnetic field. There is also a magnetic disturbance that spreads outward from the charge because the electric and magnetic disturbances spread or radiate away from the source. And these electromagnetic waves were first produced in a laboratory by the scientist Hertz. He used the charges which are oscillating in LC circuits because just we have discussed that the oscillating charges create electromagnetic waves, and he detected they are the electromagnetic waves and the frequency is the same as that the circuit is tuned. So in a radio transmitter, your electric charges are made to oscillate along the length of the conducting antenna, producing oscillating field disturbances. Since many charges oscillate together in the antenna, the disturbances are much stronger than those of a single oscillating charge and can be detected at a much greater distance. In a radio receiver, the antenna is also a conductor. The fields of the wave emanating from a distant transmitter exert forces on the free charges within the receiver antenna, producing an oscillating current that is detected and amplified by the receiver circuit. So this is how you are using the concept of electromagnetic waves and oscillating charge for our transmission process. Now here some idea about the electromagnetic waves. Already we have discussed what do you mean by electromagnetic waves, isn't it? So now let us discuss uh, different types of electromagnetic waves. In the beginning, I have told you your light is an electromagnetic wave. It is also a transverse wave. Your visible light is the electromagnetic wave. Now let us find out what is the wavelength and the frequencies of the electromagnetic wave. As all of you know about the visible light, what is the wavelength range? The range is 400 nanometer to 700 nanometer. And you know that 400 nanometer is the violet light and 700 nanometer is the red light. And in between these others are there blue, green, orange and yellow. And that means you can say when a radiation is having the wavelength in between the range of 400 to 700 nm, this is the visible light. But if it is below 400 nm, it is ultraviolet. That is 400 nanometer. If it is above 700 nm, that is your infrared waves. Now you see, these are the radio waves, this range. And these are the microwaves. Microwaves means what? The radiation, the wavelength is in the range of 10 to the power minus 6 meter. But generally, this is a few micrometers. So that's why you can say this is starts from your 1 to 10 to the power minus 5 minus. Infrared is in this region 10 to the power minus 3 to minus 6. And this is the ultraviolet region. And when you get X-rays, when you go to X-rays, the wavelength is very less and the frequency is very much high. The wavelength range is 10 to the power minus 8, starting to 10 to the power minus 2. But when you say gamma rays, again, the wavelength is again very small because they are much more energetic. It is 10 to the power minus 10 to 10 to the power minus 30. But one thing is that all electromagnetic waves, it may be a gamma ray, may be a visible light, whatever may be, each and every electromagnetic wave is having a speed which is equal to 3 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second in vacuum or in free space. So they may differ in frequency and wavelength, but speed is constant. All of you know that. What is speed? Frequency into wavelength. So obviously its frequency is more. It is more energetic because you know that E equal to H into frequency. So frequency is more, wavelength is less. That means when you say that a wave is having a very less wavelength, means it is much more energetic. Okay. So now here some data. Already I have told you the range is about 4,000 to 7,000 approximately. But if you say violet color, it is in the range of 380 to 450 nanometer. For blue, it is 450 to 495. For green, it is 495 to 570 nanometer. For yellow, it is 570 to 590 nanometer. Orange, it is 590 to 620 nanometer. And red, it is 620 to 750 nanometer. This is about the wavelengths of the visible light. Now the invisible light. Actually, here it is mentioned not the wavelength frequency, but when frequency is given, easily you can find out the wavelength. So this is the radio wave frequency. This is 10 to the power 5 to 10 to the power 6 hertz. And this is also radio, but this is AM. This is FM. FM is comparatively more, 10 to the power 7 to 10 to the power 8 hertz. And TB, same as this. Cellular phones and wireless networks, these are having the frequency in the range of microwave, already we have discussed. Weather radar, comparatively more, 3 into 10 to the power 9 Hz. X-rays, 10 to the power 15 Hz to 10 to the power 18 Hz. Gamma rays, they are having much more higher frequency, 10 to the power 18 Hz to 10 to the power 22 Hz. So these are very high energetic range. Now, how you are using electromagnetic waves or electromagnetic spectrum, you can see. So, radio waves. As what is the frequency range? Already I have discussed 5 into 10 to the power 5 Hz to 10 to the power 9 Hz. These waves are used in radio and TV broadcasting system and for communication process. So, it is better if you say this is uses of electromagnetic waves. It is written in spectrum. So, it is uses of electromagnetic waves. And what are the microwaves? Its frequency range is 10 to the power 9 Hz to 10 to the power 11 Hz. This is the frequency. These waves are used for radar communication, for the study of atomic and nuclear research, aircraft navigation, microwave ovens for cooking, and warming of food. Infrared range. Its frequency range is 3 into 10 to the power 11 Hz to 4 into 10 to the power 14 Hz. These rays are used for taking photographs in clouds and foggy conditions, treatment of muscular strains, revealing the secret writings on unsealed walls. Now, what are the visible radiations? These are used in photography, optical microscopes, astronomy in many cases. So, these are some just basic ideas about the use of waves. And X-rays, you know that. What are the use of X-rays? Before going to the X-rays, let me tell about ultraviolet rays. So its frequency range is 10 to the power 14 Hz to 10 to the power 15 Hz. And these are used for to preserve the foodstuffs, making drinking water free from bacteria and germs, in sterilizing surgical instruments, in detecting invisible writings and documents and fingerprints. Now, what are the uses of X-rays? All of you heard about the X-rays. These are used in medical diagnosis for locating faults and cracks in weak metallic bodies, radiotherapy to cure skin diseases, cancers and tumors, location body fractures and study crystal structure. And mainly the use of X-ray is what I think you have lesson that in your, that means medical industry, you can say. So in medical diagnosis, your X-rays takes an important role. But another most important part of X-ray is also to study the crystal structure. So nowadays it is very much important to study. First thing is we want to also now you can say synthesize some advanced materials. So your X-rays are very most important, which are used in XRD, which is known as your X-ray diffraction. Okay. Now what are the gamma rays? Its frequency range is 10 to the power 18 Hz to 10 to the power 22 Hz. These rays are used in treatment of cancer and to study the structure of the nucleus. Okay, now these are used in the treatment of cancer, but this is also an important part in the field of your nuclear science to study the structure of the nucleus. So here in this lecture, just I have given you a basic idea about different electromagnetic waves. But here the most important thing is, what is an electromagnetic wave? What is its origin? And all of you know that whenever there is a oscillating electric field and magnetic field, energy is propagated along a direction perpendicular to both electric field and magnetic field. Okay. So your light is or any radiation, these are electromagnetic waves. Your visible light is also electromagnetic wave. Your gamma ray is electromagnetic wave. X-ray is an electromagnetic wave. And another important thing is that you can express the electromagnetic wave either in terms of electric field or in terms of magnetic field. So now let us try to answer this question. Is it possible to have a purely electric wave propagate through empty space? That is a wave made up of an electric field but no magnetic field. Similarly, the second question is, what about a purely magnetic wave with a magnetic field but no electric field? Try to answer this question. Here it is mentioned both of answers are no. Because it is mentioned that from the definition it is itself is that whenever there is a oscillating electric field and magnetic field and they are perpendicular to each other, then energy is propagated along a direction perpendicular to both electric field and magnetic field. And this is an electromagnetic wave. So three components should be there. One is your electric field, the other is magnetic field, the other is the direction of propagation. So you cannot have a pure electric wave. Similarly, we can't have a pure magnetic wave. So such a field necessarily generates a magnetic field through Ampere's law. So a purely electric wave is impossible. So that means in the origin you can say that whenever suppose a charge is oscillating, when a charge is oscillating, it creates electric field. Then it creates a magnetic field. And if both electric field and magnetic field varies, then there is an electromagnetic wave. So obviously there is a magnetic field and there is electric field. So you cannot say that it is a purely electric wave. No magnetic field is present. Because whenever there is a time varying electric field, there is a time varying magnetic field. Similarly, whenever there is a time varying magnetic field, there is an electric field. But one thing is that when you are representing an electromagnetic wave, we are representing either in terms of electric field or in terms of magnetic field. Because both varies with time. Like your general wave, how can you represent a wave? If the wave function is suppose f(x)t, f is a function of position and time. Suppose the wave is propagated along x direction. So how can you represent f(x)t? You can represent this as A sin kx minus omega t. Similarly, you can represent here ext as E0 sin kx minus omega t. That means what is ext? The electric field at a position x at any instant of time t is equal to what? E0 is the maximum value of the electric field. Then sin kx minus omega t. Because here the electric field varies with respect to space as well as with respect to time. Because all of you know that a wave is a function of space and time. Similarly, whenever there is an electromagnetic wave, there is a oscillating electric field and there is a oscillating magnetic field. So both varies with time as well as both varies with space. Okay. So whenever we are talking about the electromagnetic wave, it is associating with electric field and magnetic field. So next class or next lecture, we'll discuss about this electromagnetic wave and the associated electric field and magnetic field, and how your these four laws, that is your Gauss law of electrostatics, Gauss law of magnetostatics, Ampere's law, Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction, how they are valid for an electromagnetic wave, and how you are representing the electromagnetic wave in terms of this, and what is the speed of the electromagnetic wave. So everything we'll discuss in the next lecture. Here just the basic idea about the electromagnetic wave, and it can be expressed in terms of electric field and magnetic field. So next lecture will be your second lecture of the chapter 32, that is electromagnetic waves and speed of light. And in this lecture, we'll discuss about the speed of light, how the speed is equal to 3 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second, and how the Maxwell's four electromagnetic equations, they are valid in case of electromagnetic waves. So let us meet in the next lecture. Thank you.